Oh my goodness. All that. Yeah, 3 people. Hi guys. I'm literally holding you because I wanted to make sure this stays going. I'm at a loss for technology today. Let's just say I started it to where we could do multiple cameras and all that. Got my live stream all scheduled. Everything was ready to go. Clicked on it, pressed go live, and usually music plays. Well, none of the devices were doing the schooling thing, playing the over and playing the music that plays on the starting soon page. It was like, what's happening? No. Yes, everything's on.
My goodness.
Yeah, they're
Can you
all
hear
saying they
me?
can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I
Oh my goodness.
No, they're still saying they can't hear you.
What is wrong with this today?
Better, it's better.
Is it working now?
Yes, they're all saying it's better.
Okay, how about
There's 130.
Now, working now. I'm gonna wait till it comes back. Okay, we're gonna make sure that it's still working with sound.
okay, so it looks like today you are getting me raw. All raw everything. No microphones. Everything is going to be none of this stuff that's expensive and fancy. Like seriously, no mics or nothing today. So now that it's working, I'm going to put you in a mount, and I have to clean up all this other stuff too because it's kind of in my way. We're going to flip the camera around. Right. This, look at that, all this technical stuff just thrown everywhere because I have to clean it all up real quick so you guys can just hang out in the chat and everybody can find today's video.
Every time you try and use the computer, something goes wrong. I don't understand why that is.
I don't know either.
The computer's our new device. The phone is our second newest.
Yep, this computer is like brand new. Most of this camera equipment is brand new. Everything is new. I don't know why anything is not working today. But I don't want all this getting dusty, so I'm going to move it out of the way for now. Just going to put it on the floor. And we're going to put you right where you usually go, which is right here. So you can see the cutting mat and the sewing machine and the ironing board. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I am so sorry. Every time I try to do this, I'm just not a techie person, and technology is not me. It's not my friend. Like, seriously. So, anyway, enough of all that babbling. Hi, guys. Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting life. I'm Tiffany, and today is Srw Sunday, and we are going to sew today because it's Sunday. Usually I say something else, but I had so much going on in my brain today. Just now, like everything was set up perfect, and it just didn't work right. So, whatever. I'm just going to make it work. So, as the title says, and as the previous video title said, I am actually going to be sewing with a half a layer cake today. So, I have this Moda, slide this down, take this out. It is a Moda by Lela Boutique, Bloom Where You Are Planted, Bloomington. Show what?
Show me your shirt first.
Oh, my new shirt, which has a microphone. The microphone's sticking out at my boob. Here's my new shirt. So you guys remember store haul? Like it's well. Oh man, you can't even barely see the writing on the screen. It says Tiffany's Quilting Life, and it's super cool. So we're gonna come and do a close up of my shirt. Right there. Can you see my beautiful shirt? I can't see the screen, so you're gonna have to tell me. I embroidered this morning because I was bored, and I used variegated thread, and it came out so adorable. I love it. It's just hard to read from far away because it's on a mixed colored t-shirt and it is variegated thread, but I like the way it turned out, so that's that. So that's what I did this morning on the embroidery machine.
It looks very good. They're all liking it.
Good. I'm glad. I had fun doing it, making the shirt this morning. I needed it on a tank top because it's summertime here, and you guys all know me. For those of you who've been following me forever, I wear tank tops. I don't cover up and make myself super presentable. I wear tank tops on my videos. So if my tattoos hang out and it bothers you, click away because I don't care. This is me. The real me. I'm not going to cover myself up.
What thread did you use? Kim wants to know.
Thread. The variegated one from, it was a gift to me.
Yeah. I just know it was variegated.
Yeah, it was a variegated. So I'm going to open this half a layer cake now because I'm already behind, and I figured I would have this all done in one day, but that's not going to happen. Oh, look, it even comes with what you can do with a layer cake. How to sew a layer cake. Oh, look at that. I already know how to sew a layer cake. So here's my pretty Lella Boutique layer cake, and I already have to have Scott start ironing and pressing these, so I'm just literally gonna run them down because they're like all hooked together. They've been rolled up too long. Let's see if I can't get these off of here so you can see all the pretty fabrics in here.
Am I starting to iron soon?
Yes, I need the iron. Yes, on. Turn the iron on.
That doesn't go on there. You know that.
So I'm showing you guys all of these. Iron Man's going to get ready because he needs to press these. I need them flat. He's putting his favorite iron.
I don't have a favorite one anymore since Squeak died.
Well, his next favorite since Squeak died. And a red stripe. So those are the colors. I always give myself an allowance of things that I need, which you guys should know this by now. So I cut 1.5 yards of white. I know it's so weird for me, right? You're thinking Tiffany doesn't ever use white with anything. I use black or oddball colors. Well, today I'm using white.
And then your pre-cuts?
These were gifted to me in one of the boxes scraps people send me.
Okay. Am I in them all?
Again, it's Bloomington from Lella Boutique. That's what it is. It's Lella Boutique Bloomington line. And to go with that, so I got the white for my background and the things that I need it for, because I have an idea in my head, and so we're going to do that. And then I grabbed this off my shelf to go with it for my border and stuff. So that's what I'm going to use. It looks really good with it, honestly. So I'm going to use it for cornerstones because my project's going to have cornerstones. So I'm going to use this for the cornerstones and the border, the second border, because I'm going to do 2 borders because I allowed myself 1.5 yards. So I definitely can make 2 borders. And just know the whole entire time that I put this project together, obviously, you didn't bring a cell phone charger in here, did you?
I'm sorry.
I'll go grab it in a second. It's fine. Just keep ironing those.
Well, do you want to iron for a second? I'll go grab it.
Here. Hold on. I was going to say something.
You can read the chat right there.
Leave that down.
That's why we're switching.
Now he made me forget what I was going to say, though. Oh, during my videos, I always give you measurements. Everything that I cut, I will tell you. So just know that you will not miss any size that I cut. So you'll know, and I always tell you, everything I do is verbal visual. There is no pattern available. I just sew stuff together. These layer cakes have been rolled up so long. They're not very layer cakey. They're kind of funky. These were definitely cut funky.
Okay, you're plugged in. You can sit back down.
Thank you. Feed.
By plugging it in?
Nope. Is it working? It says I'm working. Okay. Just leave it be. It says I'm working. All right.
Nothing likes us today.
Yeah, nothing is going right today. So I'm going to start while he's doing all of that. I'm going to start by cutting my white. I don't want them in my way right now.
Oh, I thought you
I'm going
wanted
to
them.
start by
Alright.
cutting my white background fabric into some 2.5-inch strips. So I'm just going to put these two ends together because I have it folded on itself. And I'm just going to give myself a nice straight line down the side of both pieces. I may cut straight off the bolt, but I don't always have a straight line on both sides when I line it up. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to grab a left-handed cutter. I'm going to make a nice straight cut and I'm going to cut 10 2.5-inch strips. That's 10 2.5-inch strips. But I'm going to do that after I make a nice straight line. And I'll be cutting 2 strips at a time, which makes it even better. Because I only have to make 5 cuts. All right. So 10 2.5-inch strips. I'm going to grab my Martelli cutter because I like this better. So 2. And you could probably use a jelly roll for this part, I guess, but the yardage would be better. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
They said next time you can just do it live on Facebook if it doesn't work on here. That's an idea.
I could, but not all my followers use Facebook.
I know,
So it would be down.
saying.
It would be downing my subscriber count if I did that.
I'm just saying if it didn't work.
All right.
Here.
So I have 10 2.5-inch strips cut, and we're going to be subcutting these. So for now, I'm going to move this over there out of my way. And I'm going to turn these and I'm going to stack them and subcut them. For every 2 blocks we're making, we need 16 2.5-inch squares. So you'll get 16 2.5-inch squares per one of these, and we're making 20 blocks.
Do you know what you're making yet?
Yes, I know what I'm making. The idea is in my head, so trust me, it shall work out. I don't know the finished measurements, but just know that half a layer cake is going to be like a baby kid size quilt, even with sashing and cornerstones. So we're going to try to get this done pretty quick. So I'm going to stack these up. And we're going to cut 16 2.5-inch strips from each strip that we just cut from all 10. So I'm just cutting a ton of 2.5-inch squares. And I'm not going to mark them all, but if you cut all yours, it might be easier if you mark them all. For you, I use the seam tape on my machine. I have seam tape on my machine. Hi, Mom. If you guys didn't know, my mom likes to join the chat here and there. Come on, get on there. Look at that. So I'm cutting all this down
Are you
into.
feeling any better?
Not really. I'm hyper though. I'm always hyper for Srw Sunday. I get so excited. You know why? Because I haven't been in this room in what, 5 days now?
It's been a while.
It's the last day I was in here. I opened some mail. That was Friday, and 3 days before that was the last time I actually sewed something. So it's actually been well over a week. The only thing I've done any sewing related wise was I loaded the long arm with a client job, and I embroidered a shirt today.
Tell them about that. We tried to make a video for everyone.
Yeah. I tried to film a video, and same technology problems. Everything was good, but every time I pressed the pause button, I lost all the sound on the return back. Yeah. So my video was me talking, because I was going to edit, you know, and I'm talking away, telling you guys how to do something, what to do, how to do it, and bam, I had to pause the video for something to happen, and as soon as I paused it, the rest of the sound was missing, and I can't voice over that because I don't remember what the heck I said. So, yeah, unfortunately,
so that's a whole video.
That whole video, I spent an hour and about an hour and a half filming that video,
Yeah.
only to lose all that footage. And I'm tossing it. I'm not keeping any of it. It's all been deleted already because there is no point. I'm just going to refilm it at another time, and I guess I just will never press pause while I'm filming. All right, so I'm literally like, you know, cutting all the layers at the same time, trying to get it done faster. So I'm going to reline these back up, and I'm going to cut 2.5-inch squares out of all this. I know that's a lot of 2.5-inch squares, but I need 8 2.5-inch squares per block, 16 for every 2, so we needed 10 strips. And yes, my 45mm blade is cutting through 10 layers because these are stacked in 5. There's 5 pieces and 10 layers of fabric per each row of 5. So just know that you can cut through a heck of a lot of layers with a nice sharp blade. That's if you are comfortable doing that, I should say. Some people aren't comfortable cutting that many layers. Come on, stay where I put you. Just 2 more cuts to make 16 per strip, I should say. And 1 more. Stay.
What size is the ruler you're using?
This is a 2.5 by 8-inch Missouri Star ruler. And my other ruler is the 5 by 15. These are designed specifically for layer cakes and jelly rolls and charm squares. That's what these are designed for. All right. I'll pick all these up. And we're going to do a whole heck of a lot of chain piecing, but first we are going to cut our layer cake pieces. So I'm going to stack them up nicely. And they are totally not perfect 10-inch squares, but we're going to make it work because I always make it work. So the first cut we're going to do oh wow, that is so crooked. I hate when that happens. Okay. Take my ruler, and the first cut I'm going to do is 5 inches. So I'm pretty much just cutting it directly in half, just like that. And then I'm going to turn that and cut that 5 inches, just like that. So I have 2 5-inch stacks. So one staying 5 inches, just move that to the side. The next one, you're going to turn it into 2.5-inch squares. So I'm just going to come right here, line this up, and make 2.5-inch squares from. I feel like Jenny Doan from Missouri Star. She usually has like a layout of how she wants things cut. All right. And I'm going to take these and I'm going to move those to the side. Then I'm going to take this other 5-inch by 10-inch piece and I'm going to cut it 2.5 inches. Okay. And then I'm going to turn the whole thing, both 2.5-inch strips now here. I'm going to subcut this into, you guessed it, 2.5-inch squares. Except these are the ones we're going to work with now. Those ones are the ones we're going to work with later. So you get 1 5-inch square, 4 2.5-inch squares, and 2 2.5 by 10-inch strips that you're going to subcut into 2.5-inch squares out of your layer cake piece. We're trying to make the most of what we have here. And you'll get 4 cuts if your square is, 10 inches. All right. So these are the ones, and I don't care if they get messed up. Ooh, we got a little divot right there. I don't care if they get messed up. We're going to take these over, and we're going to connect these to these, and we're going to be sewing from corner to corner. Not on 2 sides of anything. We're actually sewing corner to corner.
Are you ready for these now?
Yep. Just going to start trimming all these up. But for now, I'm going to cut the rest of all these up because I really want to mess I want to mess my whole pile up. I don't want it to be completely equal. We want it nice and messy and scrappy. You could keep them all together, each square, when we go to do the next step of putting the blocks together. You can keep those together if you want, you know. But I am scrapping mine out. I want to blend the whole entire thing. All right, so I'm going to do those same cuts again. I'm going to repeat a 5-inch strip, separating it into two 5-inch by 10 inches, then subcut a 5-inch pile and put it in your 5-inch pile, and then 4 2.5s from your other 5 move those over to your other pile, and then your last 5-inch by 10-inch, subcut that into two 2.5-inch strips, and then turn it and subcut that into 4 or 8 2.5-inch squares, because you'll get 4 cuts. And we're doing this with all 20 layer cake pieces. It's probably going to take a while to sew all these half square triangles together.
You don't have to finish today.
But whatever doesn't get completed today, obviously will go into the next Sunday's video.
I only have 2 over here.
Okay.
We will pile.
Yep, I'm trying to mix them all up as I cut them. Hopefully everybody's having a wonderful weekend. I am just having a moment because of all the technology stress a little bit ago. It seriously drives me nuts. Like, it even said it was working from the computer. It said I was live. It was showing me the chat and everything. Weirdest thing. And I can even go ahead and cut the 2.5-inch section while I'm literally right here. That way it's ready. Cut this in my 5.
And more time?
Place that aside.
Not for a while.
No, not for a long while now.
Well, then I'm going to unplug this for now.
Okay. I'm cutting this into 4 2.5, setting it aside over here, and then subcut this. My other ruler's right here. I could even use this ruler by just laying it here like this, going 1.
How many 10-inch squares are you using out of
20 10-inch squares is how many were in this pack, and I'm using all 20. All right, stack the last of these using all 20. I'm making 20 blocks, so our quilt will be 4 across by 5 down. Right? Is that what equals 20? 4 times 5? Yeah. Yeah. Just in case my math on this table is, my goodness, I had to second guess myself. I'm going to try to get all the last of this in this final cut so that I could start sewing. And then I'll repeat the instructions one more time. We still have like more things to cut once these are started. But it should be fun. You guys will like it. The ideas that come from my head are pretty nifty. All right, so take the 10-inch square, split it into 2 5 by 10-inch pieces, turn one piece, subcut that into 2 5-inch pieces, move 1 5 out of the way, take that second piece that's left over, subcut it into 4 2.5-inch squares, so pretty much in half and in half both times. And I'm cutting crooked, but that's okay. I'm not cutting crooked, I'm sideways on myself. The last piece we're going to take, that's the 5 by 10-inch piece. We're going to subcut that again into 2.5-inch strips. So once you have those 2 2.5-inch strips, you're going to turn it, and then you're going to subcut that into 2.5-inch squares. You will get 8 of them. That's from one piece. If it was one piece, I'm just doing it all stacked on top of each other. Just know that each layer cake square, that's what you're going to get. And this didn't cut right there. This didn't cut right there. There we go. All right, let's take all this to the sewing machine and get to some chain piecing. So we're going to take all of these and all of these, and we're going to put them right sides together. I'm using white, so there is no right or wrong side. And I'm going to sew literally from corner to corner, corner to corner on every single one of these. I have seam tape, so I don't need to pay attention. I just need to line my corner up with my white line on my machine. But if you need to draw a single line from corner to corner and sew on that line, do that. I am just going to run all these through. I'm going to make sure that my stitch length is not from my last project, which was a bag, and I had it at 3. So just from corner to corner on every single piece, right sides together, whatever your background is. Mine is white, so it really don't matter. And they should all line up and be pretty exact. I think so. And to think we actually have to cut all these afterwards too. Cutting and sewing, cutting and sewing. It's definitely got our work cut out for us today. At least I chose a half a layer cake and not a whole layer cake, right?
That's true.
Then this project would take even more time.
There could have been more.
Yep, there could have been more. But you can add more if you want. You can do this with a full layer cake if you want and end up with a twin size quilt from it, because it's going to have sashing and cornerstones and so on and so forth. So
can you use yardage to make the 10-inch cuts?
you can, if you just want to use 2 different colors, this whole thing, you can, or 3 colors or whatever. And I don't know if you can even see this far right here on my sewing machine, but some of these pieces are longer than 2.5 because these were pinked edges. So even though I lined my ruler up, I'm going to show you right now, even though I lined my ruler up and my 2.5-inch square is perfect, you can see how much extra those wonky 10-inch squares had hanging off of them. So I'm just still going to sew from corner to corner of my white piece and just forget about that extra stuff. It's happening on this whole side stack right here. So
what size will the completed project be?
This will be, I don't know what size because I don't do math. This is in my head. I know what I'm doing. I knew what to cut, and that's it.
Would using a jelly roll and a charm pack make for less cutting?
Yeah, you can use a jelly roll and a charm pack, but you still have to cut your jelly roll into 2.5-inch squares. You can even do scraps. Scrap 5-inch squares and scrap 2.5-inch squares if you have any already cut. Like I have a bazillion 2.5-inch squares. I could have used those and some, you know, a solid yardage to bring all those scraps together, and then some scrappy 5-inch squares. I could have done that too. So yeah, you can. If you want to change the things, I just use the half a layer cake, which I try to get to using all this stuff that people send me. I use quite a bit of it, and well, let's just say some of it's still stacked up and I still got a lot to use.
Tell them about your Martelli cutter. They want to know.
I use a Martelli cutter. That is this thing right here. It is a Martelli cutter. If you're looking online for them, red means right, blue means left. So there's a right-handed version and there's a left-handed version. They make the 45 and they make the 60 millimeter cutters. There is no difference in the way you would hold them in your hand. There's no difference. This is just a bigger one. The only thing about the 60 that I complain about is once this is, you know, open, this blade bends. So when you're cutting your fabric, if you're not directly on against your ruler really nicely and you're trying to cut way too many layers like you would with any other 60mm blade, this blade will, as you can see, bend. So be very careful with the 60, but they sell 60 and 45 in both left and right-handed. And you could find them on all sorts of online stuff, or you can go to martelli.com and find them there. So that's what I use. I love it. I swear by it now. That's the only, well, besides when I cut left-handed, I use the straight ones. And then I use the other ones for like, when I'm doing bags and stuff and I don't want to use this blade, like vinyl cutting and stuff, I'll use my other rotary cutters. So I'm just going to continue sewing all of these. And if you're curious, the machine that I am sewing on, before anyone asks, I'm going to get ahead of that. I have a Juki TL2010Q. And if you're interested in machines like mine or of sorts, you can go down in the description below every single one of my videos, and there's a link to SewingMachinesPlus. Amazing deals there all the time. The Juki runs the same price on any website that you would purchase it on, just letting you know. But that is my affiliate link, so if you want to purchase a machine, that link, using it and actually purchasing from that link will actually help me out for my channel. It doesn't cost anything for you to use any of my affiliate links in the description below. So if you like want to find this fabric line, you can find it at Fat Quarter Shop, because I'm pretty sure that's who sells it. And, you know, which is another link then in the description of this video. So there's tons of stuff down there. Check it out when you get a chance. Just helps the channel out.
Have you done the second half of the scrappy fat quarter quilt?
A border to it, to the Fat Quarter Frenzy. No, I have not, because I haven't chose a border fabric for it. I was just gonna choose a border fabric and sew it on off camera and actually just long arm quilt it for you guys on camera. I'm waiting to find that perfect purple if I see it when I'm out somewhere, like at Walmart or anywhere that I go that has fabric. You never know where I'll find that perfect purple color for it. But there is 2 parts to that video, so I show you all the cutting in one video, and then there is how I trim the big huge blocks and put them together in video 2.
I think that's what she was asking, is that there's 2 videos, right?
Yep. And I think the bot should be working too, so you can use all those commands.
Oh, is it?
Should be. I turned it on for this. Shouldn't take too long to sew all 100 and something of these. Literally.
Nothing's happening.
What's 16 times 10? 160?
160.
All 160 of these? I should have known that off the top of my head, but it was there, just not for a fact.
You don't have to do it now.
It's
okay.
on. It should be on in like 2 seconds. There it is. It should work now. So there's the welcome, and then there's all the names of my people. There's the explanation Instagram for my Instagram account, explanation group that goes to the Facebook. There's one for Etsy, so you just do explanation before Etsy, explanation before email, explanation before SMP, explanation before FQS, which is Fat Quarter Shop. Explanation CT, which is connecting threads. Explanation bacon, which is my donate button. Explanation friends goes to the links to my friends. Explanation affiliate gives you the codes for the affiliate links. Explanation help gives you other things, and explanation info is also other commands. And then explanation SMP is Sewing Machine Plus. I try to give you guys all a list because you can all use them at any time. The commands are there to help. Awesome. Good. Now I can just click away from it. So yesterday, what did I do yesterday? Yesterday, I rigged up a vacuum to vacuum my pool, to hook it to my pump with an actual, so our neighbor had his full pool filled in. So that means he doesn't want a pool anymore, and it's filled in with dirt. So it's no more pool across the street. Anyway, so I took some of his pool stuff, you know, like the skimmer and blah, 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 you know, the poles for that and things like that. Well, I also took an actual made for a big, huge swimming pool pump, the hose to it. I took the hose so that I can hook it to mine, thinking that it would work. It's definitely too heavy duty for my pump. My pump barely has suction because it's such a long, thick hose. But yesterday I rigged something together and actually vacuumed the algae out of the bottom of my pool.
Yep, you made it work.
And I
You
made
did
it work,
good.
and my pool is exceptionally clean.
Okay, why are my blocks always different sizes? Should I square them up?
Square. You could square all your blocks to whatever the smallest size of all your sizes is. That would be, you know, a recommendation. But to prevent all your blocks from becoming unregular sizes as opposed to the pattern, check your 1/4 inch seam. That's always the thing that it is. 90% of the time, it's your 1/4 inch seam. So make sure that your 1/4 inch seam is consistent through every single block, because if it is not, then you're going to have different blocks at different sizes. So I could be sewing all these now, but if I get wobbly, some of them are not going to end up 2.5 inches and some of them are. So it's just going to depend. So just stay consistent with your 1/4 inch seam. The second thing is you're not using, which I've found this, and I follow lots and lots and lots and lots of groups for quilting. I have for years. When I first started quilting, I started following these groups, and I actually have noticed some of the reasons people's blocks come out wrong is because they're using a 60-40, which is 60% polyester or 60% cotton, 40% polyester fabric. They're not using 100% cotton fabric. So when you go to iron it, it's shrinking it as you're ironing it with your iron on high. So make sure your fabrics are 100% cotton. I didn't know in the beginning, and I used all sorts of fabrics. So from sheets that were polyester all the way to regular polyester fabric, because it was like $1 something at Walmart, like $1.06 a yard. So obviously we bought some. Now the only thing those are good for is purse linings, but I don't iron them because they shrink. So just watch for that. And the third reason is probably pressing inaccurately. Pressing folds, not, you know, pressing, you can press a fold into your fabric and not even know it when you're pressing your seams. So make sure that you're pressing accurately. And to even make it better, you could start your fabrics so they're nice and crisp and everything folds out properly.
Can you cut yardage to 10-inch squares and follow along from there?
Yeah, you can. Just choose like 5 different fabrics. It really doesn't matter how many different fabrics, what we're making. What we are making today is not going to matter. You'll see, as long as you have your accent, your background color, this will work with, like I said, 2 colors. Unless you want to add a border, then obviously you need to have something else, because I am putting sashing and cornerstones in here, which is going to be, cornerstones and sashing are going to be the same color. I mean, cornerstones and second border is going to be the same color. Sorry.
What's your opinion about using a clapper?
I don't have a clapper, and I never really bother with that. My iron that I prefer to use, this heavy beast, this reliable here, this constantly steams, and it's a heavy iron. And when it's filled with water, it's even heavier. This heavy duty iron is like a clapper in its own. Like, I literally can just put it down, and when I have my hand on the sensor, it steams. If I take my hand off the sensor, it's just a regular plain iron, and it's like a weight on the block. So honestly, and it has a ceramic plate, so it definitely keeps my blocks flat. So I don't know. I would say use a clapper. A lot of people have good luck with it, but I've seen my friend Eric with Treasure Heart Creations. You can do an explanation, Eric, in the thing, and it'll take you to his channel.
That iron is almost as big as you.
Yeah. If you go to Eric's channel, he didn't use a clapper in the beginning of all his videos. He does have one though, but he actually took the back of these right here. He would take a brand new notebook and that cardboard that's back there, and he would put that heavy notebook on top of his block to absorb the heat, and that worked, keeping his blocks flat. So I mean, I don't know. The clapper absorbs the heat. That's all it does. So that way it cools your block and keeps it flat as it's cooling. So I don't really have an opinion, and I do have an opinion at the same time. I mean, to each their own, I guess, if you want to use one. I don't use one. So
what is a clapper?
A clapper is a wooden... If you guys follow Becca with Sew Becca, do an explanation, Becca, and it'll take you to her channel. My friend Becca uses a clapper. She has a long, they're made of wood. So like oak or pine or things like that. Not just any wood. It's good wood. They're usually elongated about like this, you know. They're an elongated piece of wood, and they're pretty thick. They're about this thick, and they're heavy. It's a heavy wood, and they have like a handle that's etched into it. They're made of wood, so a woodworker makes these. And it's this wood piece, and then you press your block. You would press your block, and then you'd put your wooden thing on there and let it sit, and it absorbs the heat. That's what a clapper is. So my friend Becca uses one. She also not only uses a small one, but she has a big 12, I think it's 12 by 12 one, and that will press a whole entire block. She presses her block, she lays the big clapper on it, and bam, like seriously has super flat block. You know what I mean? So that's what a clapper is. It just helps you get a super flat block. Things like that, it really would help with that. Definitely having a super flat block. So no matter which way you take to get there, whether it be a clapper or some cardboard, just know that super flat blocks are good.
Okay, and you got a big question here. I want to make a quilt using a layer cake and add in yellow fairy frost fabric. Which pattern would work better? Shattered window or frenzy? Shattered window.
I don't know what yellow fairy frost fabric is, so if it's just like a yellow with polka dots on it or something.
Well, if the rest of the question is shattered adds 21. How many extra 10 squares do I add for frenzy?
You can't fat quarter frenzy with 10-inch squares. I mean, you would need a whole, probably to get that size. That thing's big. I would say 2 layer cakes to get to a nice large size. Just know you have to change all your numbers of where you're cutting things. I mean, the angles are all the same. Fat quarter frenzy is all about having fun cutting certain angles and sewing those angles together. That's pretty much what that one's about. So
what's the importance of a flat block?
Getting the quilt to lay flat. The wonkier your blocks come out, if you're continuously making blocks that aren't flat and they're kind of wonky, and say you pressed accidental creases into them and you just start randomly putting this whole quilt together without keeping your blocks flat, what's going to happen is it's going to change the size of your quilt. So it could change it all the way up to 2 inches in size. How do I know this? Because I've done it before when I was learning. So just know that keeping your blocks flat not only keeps the size that the pattern is supposed to be that you're following, but it also keeps everything laying flat so that when you go to quilt it and you only have a small ironing board, that you don't have to wrestle this whole entire quilt to repress the whole thing flat just so that you can quilt it. If you're going to send it to a long armor, you definitely want to make sure that you have flat blocks, flat quilt, period. You know what I mean? Flat borders. You want everything as flat as possible. So the importance of a flat block is very important. If you're going to make anything, you just need to make sure that it all goes together flat.
Next time do we go to the sewing store to buy thread or whatever, you're going to have to show me what this clapper looks like.
Oh, use your phone and or the computer and Google what
I'll
a clapper
do that
looks like.
later. I'm just saying, I want to see one in person.
Oh, okay. Well, they're usually made by local artisans. Clappers, I'm talking about clappers because Scott doesn't know.
Well, they're still
usually
talking about them.
made by local artisans, woodworking artisans, I should say. And it's just a wood tool that helps you. I mean, my second honest opinion about a clapper is it's an extra step, and I hate extra steps. I try to cut corners as often as I possibly can because, like I said, I hate extra steps. I don't want all the extra work.
Are blocks flatter if you iron the seams open?
They can be. It depends. If you're putting a pinwheel together, I would say, yeah, your block is going to be way flatter if you pressed all those seams open at every single seam junction, even your half square triangle beginning seam. Because half square triangles, if you press them all to one side, you end up with that big notch once you put your pinwheel together in the center, and your iron is just going to like lump over it. So yeah, blocks can be flatter if you press your seams open. But I can also say that if you press all your seams open and you go to stitch in the ditch, you're taking 100% chance of your sewing machine needle punching past and breaking the stitches of your open seam. So your seam is open now. You're going to take chances of poking through, hitting all those stitches along the way, grabbing the edge of them and breaking them, ripping your quilt. So just know open seams aren't always the best thing. I've had no problems either way when it comes to pressing open or not open. I think pressing open just takes too much time, so I just press to the dark side. And everything I put together goes to the dark side, so it really doesn't matter because they will end up connecting sooner or later, like again on a pinwheel. You know?
Uh-oh, it's going to the dark side.
Yep.
Oh, you Star Wars people.
Yep.
The dark side.
So I'm just sewing my half square triangles together because that's what we're making is half square triangles if you didn't know already. Here's a friend. I saw somebody come in with him.
I have no idea.
I should probably cut some of these up real quick though so that I could pass them to Scott to start pressing though. Because the next step is going to should go faster. It's straight, not corner to corner, so it should go a little bit easier and quicker. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut some of these off and trim them away so that Scott can start pressing them. I think I got through quite a bit.
We're going to the dark side.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, come on. You said it.
All right. Where's my chingamabobber? This, my friends, is the cutting gizmo. It does not look like this anymore. They changed the design, but it's by the Gypsy Quilter. And if you type in the cutting gizmo in the Fat Quarter Shop, so explanation FQS, you will find this under the cutting gizmo, and it just looks different. It's still purple though, I think, and I think they have a blue one now. This is for trimming apart your chain piecing. This is an amazing little invention, although you could still use the cutter on your machine or, you know, some other type of whatever to cut, but There's tons of different ways you could do this, but I like this one. It uses razor blades, and well, I haven't had to change this razor blade in the 6 years I've had this little thing, because I got this pretty much in the beginning from one of my friends who was like, oh my God, you're quilting now. You need to use this. And so she bought me one. And I've been using it ever since. I did have to put some rubber band around it because it is getting old and my razor blade likes to fall out. So I put a rubber band around it to keep the razor blade in it. But the newer designs, I'm pretty sure they're a little tighter than this and hold it nice and well. But they also make blade saver ones where you can actually take and put your used rotary blades into it and save your blades and use them as this. And you just spin it around like a little ninja flower. That's what Becca calls them, is the ninja flower, because that's the one she has. It looks like a little ninja flower, and you just put your old blade in it, and you could have that in there probably for 10 years, and it would not be dull because you could still turn it and turn it and turn it.
That is a cool name, a ninja flower.
I don't think it's called the ninja flower, but she calls it the ninja flower. All right. I'm going to put that over there, and I'm going to cut away. So here's all my pieces. They're sewn from corner to corner. I'm going to cut away a 1/4 inch seam allowance from one side or the other. It really doesn't matter which side, except for those pieces that are kind of hanging over. Those ones I will pay attention to when I get to them. But just going to go ahead and make a 1/4 inch seam, and then I'm going to be pressing these to Scotty. I'm going to be passing these to Scotty so that he can Iron Man them up by pressing to the dark. So I'm going to press to the dark because I've noticed, and this is why I don't use white very often, white is very see-through, no matter what brand you buy. And then these little cutoffs, I'm going to save. Why? Because I'm making another quilt, and these are from 2.5 inch squares, and I have, hold on, a whole entire quilt I made the pieces for that I'm going to make another quilt with from my 25 patch block series. Don't forget to check out those videos. From my 25 patch block series that's covered in dust here. Whew. All these are going to be the same exact size to go with the rest of these, so I can make an even bigger quilt. There's a ton there too. They're covered in dust. Anyway, so this is what we're doing. We're making half square triangles.
I thought I was ironing.
You are. I got to cut them first, and then you're ironing them to the dark. Make sure you peel them open first so that they don't pucker.
How would I iron them if I kept them in hand?
You know what I'm doing. I'm saying whatever.
I have no idea.
Please not to the white, though. Always to the dark. All right, so I'm just going to trim all these, and then I'll start sewing some more. Some days I just can't talk. I need these closer to me. It seems like I'm pulling them from super far away. So I'm just cutting a 1/4 inch seam allowance from one side or the other. It really doesn't matter what size. They all come out 2.5 inches, except for the ones that are like this. So if they're like this, I'm actually going to cut away the side that it's hanging over on. So that way it's not there anymore. And that will still go in my pile, and I will cut away what would be a dog ear left over on it. So all those I'm just going to cut that opposite side on, because there's quite a few of them that did that, thanks to them being a little too big. That wasn't my fault. That was the layer cake's fault. I blame it on the layer cake. It definitely turned out wonky. I like to save all my little scraps for other projects. I don't save anything less than an inch, though. I'm not that crazy, guys. I'm only partially crazy.
So you're sewing a white square and a colored square?
Yep, a white square and a colored square. They are sewn together to make a half square triangle that look like this when they are pressed. So right now I'm just trimming these so Scott can have a bunch of pressing to do while I sew the last of the 160 of those.
Because I was bored reading these 500 people's comments. So.
Yeah. Yep. You get bored reading everybody's comments. You gotta have something to do, mister.
Yeah. I can't keep up. There's so many.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm watching too. Not really. I could see them every time I turn my head.
It's crazy. There's 500 people.
500 of you.
That's what I'm saying. There's 500 people.
You know, with all 500 of you here, maybe I should do a giveaway, huh? I think we should do a giveaway, Mr. Scotty. What do you think?
So I don't know what you have to give away. You give away all your stuff as far as I know.
Those right there on top that are red.
Oh. I don't even know what those are. Okay, sure.
Okay. So let's do a giveaway. I'll set it up in like a minute. Let me get some of these cut down.
Yeah, we're going to the post office on Tuesday.
Yep. I don't mind doing a giveaway.
What kind of iron do you have?
I have several not several.
That's what I said
A
earlier.
couple.
Someone asked that. I said we have 5 irons in this room. Which one do you want to know?
Yeah, there's 5 irons here. I have a reliable steam iron. So it's a capacity vapor generator.
Technically, there's 6 if we count that one up
A
there.
compact vapor generator. And then I have a Black & Decker one. And then Scott right now is using I don't even know what brand. GE. That's what it is. And then there's another little Proctor Select, which is like a cheapy little Walmart one, or you can get them at Target or anywhere, honestly. And yeah, I don't know what the other one is. Where's the 5th one? Oh yeah, and then I have a Panasonic cordless iron. I knew there was a
4, 5,
Yep.
6.
Oh, and then I also have a Rowenta mini iron that I never use because the handle is broke, and I should put a pin or something in it to hold it. That way I can actually start using it because it's the cutest thing, and
You
it's
should just get rid
purple.
of it since you can't use it.
No, I'm
and
not
you
getting
have
rid
5
of it.
others.
I like it. I will get rid of one of the others before getting rid of my little Rowenta.
Well, I want Squeak back, and then we can get rid of all these others.
Yeah, they don't sell Squeak anymore.
I know.
I found one that was almost exactly like Squeak at the thrift store, but guess what? It didn't get hot. I don't know why they had it at the thrift store. They should test these things before putting them out and putting a $10 price tag on them. So
They're busy.
but it was a Shark iron, and
They're busy.
it looked just like Squeak, except a different color. Because Squeak must have came in more than one colorway. Most of my irons over the years, they just break. They break really easily. A couple just started randomly leaking for no reason. Spent a lot of money on one of them. It just stopped working. It had a crack in it. It got so hot that it cracked it, and yeah, that was not fun.
Does it matter how thread is wound on a spool? My machine spool lays on its side.
It shouldn't matter which way your thread is wound on the spool. I have some on my glide spools have this happen all the time. I'll buy like 5 spools of glide thread in 5 different colors, and 2 of the 5 spools will go clockwise when they come off, and the other 3 will go counterclockwise when they come off. So I don't think it matters, honestly. Yeah, I definitely have had tons of different spools unwind tons of different ways.
That's us, Marie. Tiff uses 2 of the irons, and I use 1. The others all collect dust.
Yep, all the irons are collecting dust.
You're good at that.
Yeah. Well, actually, the Panasonic doesn't collect much dust because it has a cover. The cover is what collects dust. So if I do want to use the iron, I just take the dust cover off, and it's my dust-free iron.
That's one of the 2 that you use. This keeps dying. Is it working over here? No, it's still working over here.
Go this side right here.
We keep losing video.
I don't know. So this is probably the part that takes the longest, is sewing all this together and trimming the excess away. I'm pretty sure there's a different way to make half square triangles, like making strip sets and then cutting them, you know, but I'm using a layer cake and this is how I'm doing it. Because I wanted them to stay 2.5 inches. Because there's going to be a step in between the two of these when I start putting everything together. Which hopefully we can get to all that stuff. At least today I could put one block together so that you can see what we're making, and then I'll just drag it on until it's done through Sunday after Sunday. Until this is a done project. Which I don't mind because I always have a hard time. What am I going to do today? And I always end up doing stuff at the last minute. And since I have a lot of ideas in my head, you know, obviously they come out, but sometimes I'm like, no, I shouldn't do that yet because I got to make sure it works first. So there are times where I test blocks and test my ideas first. Like with Weave It, the pattern Weave It, that is why I was able to show one in the video and then the other one I made during the video. I was able to give you guys an example of what we were making because I had to make it first to make sure I was telling you guys all the right numbers and stuff.
How many half square triangles do you make?
160 half square triangles. They're 2.5 inches. So if you do other avenues, you know, other sources to get 2.5 inch squares and then have some 5 inch and then some other 2.5 inch squares, you could also do like the 8 at a time method with the rest of your layer cake. You know what I mean? Make 8 at a time ones and then subcut those to 2.5 inch. Or is it the 16 at a time? I think it's 16 at a time that turn out to 8 inches.
Do you have a clearly slotted trimmer? You have
No,
one,
I do not have a clearly slotted trimmer.
I thought you had one. Becca says you need one.
No, I do not have one. I don't actually like the clearly slotted trimmer. So one of my local quilting friends, she let me use it a couple years back when I was still in my garage, actually.
Yeah, I remember you using it.
Yeah, I borrowed it from her because I didn't have a triangle ruler to cut out stuff and a trim. So I borrowed the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer from her, and I kept nicking my blade into the slots to trim off the dog ears. And it was frustrating me that it was, you know, every time I'd go like this, it would get caught in another one and it get caught in it, and it kept doing it and doing it. So obviously could have been user error. I don't know. So I don't use that. I actually use strip tube ruler in its place. Now, if you hold up a Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer and a strip tube ruler to each other, you will see that those measurements are literally like 1/8 of an inch off. So their line and on their Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer and versus the strip tube ruler, those lines, because I actually got these since I had borrowed hers and I gave her her tool back, her Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer. I actually lined them up on top of each other and they are so off. But if you use the lines and cut the squares, one from square from here and one square from the other one, the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer, you will notice those squares come out exactly the same size. So I don't know what it is about the markings. I think it's the shape of the ruler maybe, or just how thick the markings are, but they're exactly the same thing. This one just doesn't have slots to cut off the dog ears. So, but I use this instead. If I have to trim a ton of half square triangles to a certain size, I just use the, you know, this thing.
Are you going to square these up before sewing them?
Nope, I am not squaring them up because they're not going to need to be squared up because there's another step between this. So it won't matter. It will not matter if they are squared up or not. So yes, I've tried the Clearly Perfect slotted. I didn't like it. So I just use what I use. There's a lot of templates and stuff that have come out and little helper tools like the binding tool. The binding tool is a joke. I'm sorry. That's my own personal opinion. You could love it all you want, but for me, it's a joke. I didn't like it. I don't like the way it's used. I don't like how it's used, but I did like how it is used to make a different kind of quilt called the binding tool star, which I actually have one that I need to quilt. That was the only thing that ruler was good for, was to make that binding tool star quilt. That's it. And that could have been made with regular rulers too, but still. I don't like it for binding. I don't think it works correct for binding. Because every time I tried, it made my binding not line up. I ended up with like really big puckers, or it was like oversized. It never worked properly. So I just don't use it. But I have it. I just don't use it. All right, just a couple more to trim. Let's turn it to this side. And then I'm going to sew some more of them. And I probably won't trim all those because I have enough variation here that I can start showing you guys how a block is made. And if you want to follow along and catch up with me by next week, then I'm going to work on whatever I don't do today next week. So you can catch up with the starting of it all, you know. Because here's the last one here. All right. I'm going to save all those. So those just get moved out of the way. Put that down there and make some more half square triangles. My foot decided to run away. I try to keep it on the lip. There's a bunch of little dresser drawer things here, under here, and I try to keep the pedal foot up against it so it doesn't like run away from me.
Pedal to the metal.
Yeah. I don't like it when my pedal tries to run. So I keep one foot on the pedal because it lifts my foot good enough, and the other one is on the chair peg. Or else it just hangs there. So I'm trying to keep my feet up at all times. My disadvantage of being short. Even in my short person chair here. I want to get a comfier chair though. I don't like this one. I wish those arrow chairs weren't so much. Because I totally want an arrow chair. Not just because they're cute, but when I sat in one when we went to So Yeah, they had them there. When I was there, what, 2 years ago or last year? When did I go to So Yeah? Becca, when did we go to So Yeah? Was it last year or the year before? It was last year, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Whatever. Whenever we went to So Yeah, I sat in the arrow chair and it was so comfy. So comfy. But I can't see spending $250 on a chair. Just not happening.
Is it even gonna fit in here?
It'll fit in here. It's just a square right here.
Becca says March of last year.
Yeah, so we went last year because I know it came up in our memories on Facebook. Yeah, it just happened.
Well, Becca doesn't like them, but her mom loves it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was quite comfortable. See, I'm a little bony girl. I'm very bony. Like even my behind is bony. So I need a chair that has some cushion because it feels like I'm sitting on cement here on this chair. I don't like it. It makes my sciatic nerve act up and it's just annoying. So
yeah, well, your new couch makes money.
I definitely would love to get one someday, or a chair similar, and just recover it with pretty cute fabric that's sewing related. Because I could totally do that. And I probably could just put a cushion on this one. But then it will make me taller, and that will make my feet hang even further. So, choices. But I haven't found the perfect chair at the thrift store yet. I don't want one with arms. I need one no arms. That's why I liked the arrow chairs, because they had no arms.
I don't know what this arrow chair is. You're going to have to show me one.
Yeah. It's expensive. They sell them at SewingMachinesPlus, though. I'll show you. We'll go on there and I'll show you what they look like.
Amy says they have one with skulls.
Really? Oh, I'm missing out.
You are.
I really can't see spending $200 on a chair though.
They're saying it's $300.
Oh, I can't see spending $300 on a chair, guys. I just can't. With how thrifty we are, I mean, seriously, we spent $20 on our living room leather couch from a thrift store.
I hate it.
Scott hates it now. I don't mind sitting in it.
I want the old couch back.
But still, I can't see it on a chair. Our dining room table was what, $15, and the chairs were like $60 for all 6 of them. You know,
No, they were not.
I thought they were $60.
No.
Yes.
The table was $9 and the chairs were not that.
I thought they were $60.
No.
Yes. Either way, we didn't spend much.
You say yes all you want.
I think the most expensive furniture in this house is my mattresses. My mattresses are the most expensive.
Yeah.
I have fancy mattresses.
Your
I have 2 mattresses on my bed.
Your mattress is as much as a vehicle.
Yeah. My mattresses are expensive. I mean, we're so cheap. We bought a scooter because of the gas prices. And guess what? It's already paid for itself.
Yeah, gas just went up 20 cents in a day.
Yep. Sounds like the bobbin's getting low. Yeah, we're cheapskates. We've been living on a budget for years. There's things I want to get, you know, obviously. Everybody dreams. And there's the reality, the things that I do get. So what's going to happen is I'm going to find a nice comfy chair at a thrift store. And I'm just going to have to recover it. And now what? Skull fabric? Because that's so awesome.
You have plenty of skull fabric.
Yeah, I do have plenty of skull fabric. I don't want the ones with glitter.
I know.
Lots of glitter skull fabric. So
I
would
know.
have to.
We're not big glitter.
Oh, I could cover it in my butterfly fabric. Now that's something I have.
Carol uses a doctor's rolling stool.
A rolling. Oh,
yeah, the little
like
rolling stool. She
yeah,
said it's $80.
I don't know if I could sit on that. I need my back against something. So like when I'm stretching, which I should be doing right now, you know, I need a back to lean against, or else I have to stand up every time and like move myself. The back is there for me to like, if I get really lazy and I need something to lean against, I guess. It helps. So it's nice to have the back of the chair. Now the stool would help at the long arm if it was a tall enough stool. But I would sit on a doctor's stool at the long arm.
What did you hear to know your bobbin was getting empty?
Huh?
What did you hear to know your bobbin was getting empty?
It makes a sound. It starts clanking in there more because it's emptier, so it's looser. So it makes more of a clanking sound in the, because they're metal bobbins in a metal case. So the less that's on it, the more clanking it makes. So I'm watching because I don't want to be air sewing. So I'm watching it. It's almost. I can hear it. Unless I'm having a bad ear day. And I'm hearing things. Because it wasn't even a full bobbin.
Any opinions on creative grid ruler with pineapple trim tool?
What now?
It's going fast here. Any opinions on creative grids ruler with pineapple trim tool?
I have the. Oh, I do. Mine is the Creative Grids pineapple tool. I also have a different pineapple tool that's a different brand. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
So
I have
do you
2
like
of
it?
them. I actually have never used it.
The question was any opinions.
My opinion is I've never used it, so there's my opinion. I actually made pineapple blocks without the tool on my own with no tool, no specialty rulers. It's a little tricky, but it's possible, and I'll show you in like 2 seconds. Just because it came out and I have an unfinished project. So I started this in 2016. Started project in January of 2016. So that was a long time ago. But I made pineapple blocks with no ruler. So you don't really need the ruler to make the blocks. It's all about the angle where you cut and you line up your ruler. So is there a different, yeah, this colorway.
If you're going to talk about rulers, tell me about your very first rulers that you and Scotty made together.
Yeah.
With cardboard.
Yep. So
that were not good.
I started quilting with no rulers. So that's where the pineapple blocks came in. I saw somebody making them and I was like, oh, hey, let me cut some strips and make my own pineapple blocks. Well, I've never finished the project, but it's right here reminding me all the time that I should finish it. I got the ruler afterwards, but then I realized the ruler is going to be a different size than my current blocks. My first rulers ever, and I keep these as a reminder that I didn't have money to buy rulers when I first started quilting. So this is something for you that have been just started following me. If you didn't know, I started quilting almost 7 years ago, and I started with sheets, scissors, and an old beat up sewing machine. My rulers were this 3-inch wide, 8-inch long. This was made from a placemat.
Yep. I remember that.
My other rulers were made from foam board. So this is how my rulers looked. Yep. This was my rulers. And if I wanted an 8-inch square, it was on placemats. I bought a bunch of placemats at the dollar store and chopped them up. I have a 9.5-inch one. And I put tape around them because I kept cutting the edge with my rotary cutter when I first got it. Because obviously foam board and rotary cutters do not go together, but hey, it's all I had. I have myself a 10-inch square, and we used a measuring tape to get these because I actually didn't have a cutting mat at the time either. When I first started, I used this like cutting thing that was for food. What was it? Like a meat cutting mat, remember?
Yes.
And then when I wanted to make something special, I would tape tons of paper together like this and make special things. So I save these as a reminder that we all start somewhere in this craft. And yes, I started with funky homemade cutting ways. Most of it was done by measurements, but yeah, we had this like thing, and I would lay my pieces on there and then I'd mark it with the measuring tape because it had no markings. It was like a meat, you cut meat on it, you know? And I got one rotary cutter, which, oh my goodness. Now I use these for paper though, but I had this. This was my first rotary cutter, this thing. And yeah, it works great, but
it was cheap.
I had to take a measuring tape and I would mark it where it was supposed to be. And then I'd take my little pieces and I'd hold it up against, I would cut. Then when I first learned how to use a rotary cutter. But I did start out with scissors like this and cut everything according to my measurements from my measuring tape. Not just any measuring tape, a garage measuring tape, because that's what I had. So I made do with what I had when I started. So don't be afraid as a beginner to just work with what you got. You don't need anything fancy. I made a lot of quilts. I made a lot of quilts in the beginning. I even made a quilt a Star Wars quilt of all things that I sold. I sold my first quilt sold for like $250. It was a lap size. I sold that quilt and I did not make it with any special custom rulers. It was made with those crappy things that I put together. The junk rotary cutter and some scissors. And it was amazing. And it sold.
What stabilizer did you use on your tank top?
What?
What stabilizer did you use on your shirt?
The stuff that we bought from Amazon. What is the word for it again?
Tear away, cut away, iron on. Let
me look. I gotta get the word from it. No show mesh. That's what it is. It feels fine against me. So I don't know. It's nice and soft. It's still puckered. Go figure. Yeah. So just know, if you are determined to make a quilt, you can make a quilt. using any tools that you just have lying around. Even a pizza cutter. I know this because I tried my pizza cutter and it cut through the fabric.
That thing's so dull.
It was so dull and it was very hard to cut, but it cut. It cut one piece of fabric through one piece of fabric.
We
so
still use it to this day for pizza. It does a terrible job.
But yeah, if there's a will, there's a way. If you want to sew and you have an old beat up sewing machine, you just want to do something, you can use whatever you have. Kitchen scissors to cut with even. No big deal. An old iron that's not even, you know, you heat it up on the stove. If you got that, trust me, you can make it work. Thread is still going. It's a miracle. But I can hear it. I can hear it. It sounds different. Getting closer, almost done. Sewing all 160 of these 2.5-inch squares. Whoop, whoop. Then I can do a block or two and be done for the day.
If you use no-show mesh, did you cut in between the lines of the letters so that it's stretched with your body?
This I did. I did cut between I didn't cut between the letters, just between the word Tiffany, the word quilting, and life. I cut between those. I didn't go through all the letters because they're connected. The letters are connected. I did go down into them when I cut it away. Like, you know, kind of. I tried to do it a little different than the last time. Huh?
Did you just think of this pattern?
This has been on my mind for a little while to try.
When
When you see what I'm making, you're going to be like, oh, hey, I know what that is. But I'm changing it up. That's what it is. I'm all about what happens if. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to say what it is right now because it's going to be a surprise. Kind of like, you know, a surprise. I like surprises.
You should get a purple cushion to sit on. When did you start long arming?
I started long arming within my first 6 months. I bought a frame and started going within my first 6 months. And it was this Juki on a Grace GQ frame. No, not GQ. What did I have? Yeah, it was a GQ frame. Yeah, whatever. That's what I had.
It took you 6 months because you had to argue with me 6 months before we got it.
Yeah, I definitely had to, you know, he's like, well, you have what you have. You could do it, because I was free motion quilting. I had a desk that we put my brother machine in that I had. I had a PRS 100 or 1000 or something like that, or 1100. And I was using that to free motion quilt. So I had this throat space right here on the queen size, and he was seeing how beautiful my free motion quilting was, and it was hard for me. I was like, oh, okay, let's move the quilt, put it on here, and I was putting the ironing board and everything I could at the ends of the tables to hold the quilts up, and he's like, okay, finally. I was interested in long arming as soon as I learned about long arm quilting. So it was like, I have to do this. And then I got this first. And then a year later, I was already grown out of it, but we had to wait a while finance-wise because we didn't have the money for me to get the long arm. But I've had the King quilter now for 4 years.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah, so it took a while on that to get that, but almost. Still going though. If this makes it through all 160, I'm gonna be surprised. Because I could hear the bobbin. Can I have a cough drop if you get a chance?
Yeah.
I have a tickle in my throat and it's making me want to cough and clear my throat.
I get your cough drop.
I'm trying not to cough too much. The other night I tend to, my hair falls out a lot, and I'm pretty sure some of this has happened to you guys. My hair falls out quite often, a lot. And my hair is very fine, thin, fine. And even after I chopped it all off and it grew back out, it's still very thin and very fine. So the other night, I must have inhaled one of my hairs because my hair falls out on my pillow on my bed, and I've inhaled it more than once. Well, the other night I must have inhaled a hair because I woke up choked. This is cherry, right?
Huh? No, this is a berry flavor.
Okay. I woke up choking and I could not go back to sleep. I sprayed my throat with throat spray, thinking I can gargle it, you know, and numb my throat at the same time to get it down. I could not get that problem gone. I ended up trying to fall asleep with a cough drop in my mouth, but my brain has a fear of choking on it in my sleep. So obviously it didn't allow me to fall asleep with a cough drop in my mouth. And now ever since then, I have had this dang tickle off and on in my throat, and it's been like 5 days now. I sometimes think it's from inhaling the dust because I get a lot of dust around here. I think I have the dustiest sewing area ever. We do live in Arizona though, so I can't blame it all on my fabric and thread. We live in a very dusty area, and it's always windy here too, so it's like you can't stop it from getting in. The dust still manages to make its way into the house. Is it a girl that he has over? Sounds like a girl's voice.
When we get done. Which we're going to send you the giveaway at 6:40.
Yeah, oh, well, let me set it up right now. Let me finish sewing this.
6:48. Right? Or is there more for me to iron?
All this will be needed too, but I'm just going to make a block to show them how to make a block with those. All right, so this time I did not over measure and overcut. I had the perfect amount of pieces. Only because they're in 10s and 20s. So, all right, let me start a giveaway for you guys. Where's that at? Right there. We're going to go to, I forgot which button.
How did you quilt your first quilts that you made?
I quilted them with straight line quilting. I just put it under the sewing machine and stitched from one end to the other. And I used decorative stitching to do it. All right.
I want to try this thing. This is a very flicker one. No, Angela, we are not computerized.
Nope, I don't have computerized.
It's free motion. No computer.
I don't need a computer to... My work looks like a computer sometimes. Sometimes my work is so pristine, it looks like a computer. And all of those that get long arm quilting by me can probably vouch for that. Because those are the comments they tell me.
Sometimes.
All right.
Sometimes.
All right. Sorry, I don't type very fast, so this kind of thing takes me a minute. All right. Can you pass me behind you so I can show what I'm giving away so I can get to this next step while it runs?
These?
Yep. So
4 of them? Oh.
I'm going to turn this on and start the giveaway. To enter, all you need to do is type in the exclamation point and the word raffle. And I am giving away the set of 4 placemats that I made. So I made these
Were those
four
made for giveaway?
placemats. Huh?
Were they made for giveaway?
Yeah, just one set. Yeah, set of 4 placemats. So one person will have a lucky chance to win something that I have made here in my quilt room, and it's in a video. So these are summertime, perfect for right now before 4th of July comes next month. These table mats, they have stars on the back, glitter stars and moons and planets, suns, whatever. I just thought it would be fun because it's red, white, and blue. So I added the blue to have red, white, and blue. So this is what the giveaway is entering to win. So there that is. All right. So while you guys are entering, you guys have 20 minutes, which gives me plenty of time to
Do the free shipping in America only.
Yeah, and the shipping is to Americans only. If you are outside of America and you win, just know that you'll have to pay your shipping. We can't afford to ship outside the United States. So, all right. I've said this in plenty of my videos. I'm going to separate all these at least for now, and I'll cut them later. So for now, what I'll do is make a couple blocks for you to see. Actually, I still got to cut some more pieces and sew them on. Just want to get them cut. So it lasted all, my bobbin lasted all 160 squares though. Well, look at that. I thought it was going to run out.
Come to type the explanation.
You have to type in the explanation mark, which is shift 1. You know, that's where the explanation mark is, on the 1 on your keyboards. Even on a cell phone, you just hold down the 1 button and an explanation should come up. Some phones it's on A, I think. Either way. And then raffle directly after. No space in between or it won't enter you. And the bot takes a minute to catch up to highlight your name saying that you entered. So just give it some time. I'm pretty sure you entered because this list is going super crazy. So it's catching all of you. So the explanation mark and then raffle. Scotty, type it in so that they can see how it's
They're not going to see
typed.
it going too fast.
Oh,
They can see from all the other people that are doing it.
okay. Just like everybody else is doing. All right, I'm going to cut these next pieces. So we're going to take our background now. We're going to move on because I still need to do more stuff. These will get trimmed later. We're just going to move it out of the way. My fabric is still folded in half. We're working on my background fabric. Just like this. And I am going to cut, and I know some of you are going to hate this because some of you don't like working with 1-inch strips, but we are going to cut 5 1-inch strips. We're cutting 5 1-inch strips. 5 of them.
If you guys win and you live out of the country and you do want to pay your shipping, yes, that's okay. One lady mentioned that.
Yeah, if you win and you're out of the country,
but
you can pay your shipping.
We sent something that was about the size of 2 of these before as a giveaway in America, and I asked what shipping would be to Canada, just a roundabout, just anywhere in Canada, and it was triple the price. So for those of you Canadians that bug me every time, what about Canada? That's why. This is $5 in America and $15 in Canada for just 2.
The reason why we always say this, and it kind of seems like Scott is a little whatever about it because it is pricey, but that's because YouTube, between YouTube and all my affiliates and stuff, it barely pays our bills. So that is why my giveaways are random. They don't always happen, but my long arming is what keeps us afloat. So YouTube and stuff doesn't pay enough money for me to keep doing it constantly. So until, you know, that changes, we have to keep it low. So I can't afford to pay $50 to ship 4 placemats out of the country. And Scott doesn't want me to do that either. You know what I mean?
Well, they understand that, but the Canadians don't get it. They don't realize how much shipping is.
Yeah, it's way a lot.
It costs just as much to ship it to Canada.
I just thought I would say that out loud because I know some people get upset about it, but unfortunately we can't change that. All right, I'm only cutting 5 strips that are.
I'm sorry to tell you, Canadians, we got Canadian neighbors over here. They own a house in Canada and right down the street.
We can have them take it on the way.
But yeah, unless you have a house in town and you're going to come visit, yeah, I can't ship it to you for free.
All right, so I cut 5 1-inch by width of fabric strips. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to move this out of the way. Oh, look at all the dust that it picked up. You see that on the white? I'm telling you, it just touches spaces in my room and it gets covered in
We
dust.
have over 600 people. That's your first.
Wow, that's crazy. All right, we're going to take these 1-inch strips. And I am just going to do one for now. The rest we'll do later. I'm just going to do this so that I can make a couple
Tell
blocks.
Carol that yes, people ship their quilt tops to you.
Yes, people ship quilt tops for me to quilt for them. I am a long arm quilter for other people. All right, so now we are going to take this 1-inch strip. I cut the selvage off, and all of them we're going to do. Right now I'm just doing one piece for now, just because. We're going to subcut. You only have to enter once for the raffle.
This lady just keeps doing
Okay.
it.
1-inch strip with the fabric. I have it folded in half, so I'm going to get 2 pieces per every cut. I'm cutting 2.5-inch subcuts. So when I subcut it, I will have 2.5 by 1-inch pieces. So I need 4 for every block. That's why we cut 5 strips. That's why I like working in 5s, 10s, 15s, and 20s.
I'm gonna talk to them.
Hmm.
Sorry, Janet, if you want to pay your shipping to Australia, yes, you can, but just beware, we can't ship to you ground. I have to ship to you first class, so you're even more expensive.
Yeah.
That's something with you guys, according to our post office. I don't know if you know that or not, but yeah, you guys cost a lot more than most countries.
We even shipped a pattern to Australia recently.
Mm-hmm.
It was like $8 for an envelope with a piece of paper in it. All right. So I subcut as many 2.5-inch strips that I could get from that one for now. And this is what we're going to do.
Do you have a price list for your quilting?
No, it starts at 0.025 cents per square inch. So 2.5 cents per square inch is what it starts at. And that's just for basic, for me to just scribble from one end to the other, you know, with a meander or loop-de-loops or whatever. It goes up as the custom quilting goes on, all the way up to 15 cents a square inch. So it depends. And I do have a wait list. Right now it's over 4 weeks. Actually, I think it hit 5 weeks now. That's one thing I've been doing not on camera lately, is I'm trying to get my long arm jobs caught up because I got behind this whole whatever. So, and custom jobs take a little bit longer. So sometimes those are on the frame for like 4 or 5 days. So that takes a whole week in itself. So just know that my wait time is over 4 weeks. All right. I'm scrapping this up. I don't want all these pieces to be the same. What we're making is a star, but not just any star. It's different. So I'm going to take 4 squares that are 4 different colors, okay? And then I'm going to take 4 more squares that are 4 different colors. How to use that 1, 3, and 4. So I want to take all 8 of these to the sewing machine. And what we're going to do is we're going to use these 1-inch by 2.5-inch strips and our 2.5-inch squares. And I'm going to take 2 of these squares and I'm going to put them together. I'm going to face them towards you like this, as if they were flying geese. I'm going to put them together like that. But before I put them together like that, I'm actually going to add a 2.5 by 1-inch strip to the side, the color side of one piece. So to the color side of one piece. So with a 1/4-inch seam, let me put my seam guide on here because I cannot sew straight for the life of me. We're going to have the seam guide on here, and I'm going to stitch, and I'm going to pretend that this, you know, that's the first one, and then we're going to say that this is the second grouping. So I'm going to chain piece this through, because the whole project I'm going to chain piece, but I really want to get a block made.
Tell them how the fires are doing.
Hmm?
Tell them how the fires are doing.
I actually haven't checked on it in days, so I honestly don't know. The last time I checked, it was like 64% contained.
Well, we don't have smoke in the sky no more. So
yeah, our sky hasn't been smoky, so that's a plus. Oh, I'm kind of sewing one of these is upside down. I might have to see in a second. I just know I want my white to the outside, but this white 1.5 by 2 inch touching the color. So as long as it's touching the color, it should be good. All right, so there's 4 of them. So I'm going to snip these apart. And these are my 4 pieces, making flying geese essentially with a strip in the middle. So I'm going to take and press that back. I'm just pressing it towards the background, no big deal. I'm going to take my second piece, and now I'm going to sew it on the opposite side of that 1 inch by 2.5 inch strip. And we're going to sew those on to the opposite side. So I'm just going to finger press open, take my other piece, making sure that it's in the flying geese orientation, but it has a dash between it. So making sure it's in that orientation.
Can you show it up closer?
Yep, I will come closer with the next one.
I can do that.
Here, just take this. This is the orientation that they need to be in. So I'm going to finger press this back towards that white. This is the orientation we're looking for. Scott's going to bring it to the camera.
Whoa, sorry. Didn't mean to hit it. My foot actually did. You guys see that okay?
That is the orientation. And you would have seen all this so much better if I would have had no tech problems, huh?
Yes, because we would have had 3 cameras.
Yeah,
on.
you guys would have been able to see all the angles of making this. So again, I'm making sure it's the flying geese look, but with a dash between it. So I'm going to go ahead and separate these, and for now I'm just going to finger press them all towards the middle. And the only reason why I'm okay pressing towards the white is because my 1/4 inch seams touch in the middle, so it completely hides the seam allowance behind that white. So just know with 1 inch strips, if you press them both in towards your 1/2 square triangle in towards your 1 inch strip that's separating anything, you won't have anything behind that because it's 100% covered. It should match right up, giving you a 1/2 inch in the middle.
Does it matter how many times you enter? It says you get 2 and 3 and 4.
You get 2 entries per entry.
Yeah.
It's just 2. It's set up for 2 per.
Yeah, you can only get 2, right?
Yeah.
They're arguing about this.
Yeah. There's 380 total entries so far, guys. So it's definitely counting you all. It gives each of you 2 entries per thing. It does not put your name in twice. It just puts your name in once.
We haven't drawn the person yet, Michael, but we'll tell you if you want.
We have 6 minutes left. So in those 6 minutes, we're going to take and show you how to make a block. All right. So I'm going to take, and I'm hoping, they see really good right here?
As far as I know, yeah, okay. I can.
So in adding, so you had 2 2.5 inch 1/2 square triangles, okay? You added a 1 inch strip between them. Now you should have a 5 inch piece of fabric. From here to here should be 5 inches, okay? And it should be 2.5 inches from here to here, up and down. So we're going to lay these out right here with my whites pointing in like this. My whites are going to point in like star legs. We're going to go ahead and take one random, I want something that's really going to pop real quick just because it's this block. Something that's not in here. We're going to take one 5 inch square. It's a random one, but like I said, you could have kept all your same colors together for this. You didn't have to scrap it up like I'm doing. So I got one random here, and then I'm going to take my piles. Remember I made those 4 piles of 2.5 inch squares. I'm honestly just going to take one from each of these. That way I'm equally distributing all these. So I'm going to take that guy and put him here. That guy, I put him there. Oops. I want from this pile. We'll just put this one anyway because I'm already right here. And one from this pile. and one from this pile. So they're all 100% different, like that. All right, so there's those. And now all we're going to do is sew this together like a 9 patch. So you have your 4 corners are 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares. Then you have these little pieces that we made that look like flying geese, but they're separated half square triangles with a dash in them that make and create star legs. And then you have your 5-inch square in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and take this one in the first row and hook them together, right sides together. And I'm going to sew these through. Then I'm going to take the second 2 like this, right sides together, and I'm going to sew these through, and I'm going to kind of pay attention right here where they're topping off, so that way I'm not completely getting rid of my 1/4 inch seam allowance. I don't want to lose all of my points. So I'm being mindful of that through the project, but if you do lose the points, it's no big deal because they're not together points. They're separated points. And then I'm going to sew the third 2. And now have together pieces. They can't get out of order or out of place. I'm going to press towards my 2.5 inch square, so away from my half square triangle. My middle, I'm going to press toward. And then my bottom one, I'm going to press towards my 2.5 inch square. Leave it right here next to me. Grab my top 2.5 inch square. Put that on the left-hand side. Grab my next one. Sewing it on my left side. And then grabbing that last one.
They're saying your sound is going out now.
Seriously? More tech problems?
3 people said it now. 3 people have said it. One says it's fine, but 3 people have said it's not.
It could be that the video is just choppy and you guys are getting the choppy of the sound instead of the video, because it's something to do with our internet, I'm pretty sure. So again, I'm pressing away from my center in towards the center on the big 5-inch square, and then I'm going to press towards my 2.5 inch square again. So I should have a piece that looks like this. They are all sewn and hooked together. Can't lose my spot. So now I'm going to take this top one, put it right sides together just like this, and I'm going to sew on this edge. And I'm going to nest my 2 seams right here. They're going in opposite directions. And then my next ones will be down towards the other side. There's nothing to nest in the middle. Again, all I'm doing is watching my 1/4 inch seam allowance at those points so that I don't lose my points completely. I'm finger pressing the project in towards the middle. And then I have a piece that looks like this. So this side is now going to go over here. We're going to nest that first seam, line it up with a 1/4 inch seam, sew on down. Nesting my third seam my second seam, I should say, which is the bottom one, as I sew. And then again, I'm going to press it in towards the center, just with my finger for now. I have a stray thread sticking through my block. So this is what our block should look like. It is a broken star. So the star is broke down the sides, as you see, and on the top and bottom. Did the raffle end?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I had 6 minutes left.
Well, people are still typing in.
Okay. Yeah. All right. It's ended. So.
Okay. Well, show them your block, and then you can.
All right. So this is the block for now. Again, when I get to next week, I will go over the whole how I got to this block, and I'm gonna chain piece the rest of these. But for now, we're gonna just get off of here. But I'm gonna end with the giveaway. So that's how it is: a 2.5 inch square from our pile of 2.5 inch squares and our pile of 5 inch squares. The 5 inches in the middle, 2.5-inch half square triangles that we made, sewing from corner to corner, which was cut from our layer cake. See the beginning of this video for those instructions. And then our separating piece that separates our star pieces is a 1.5, a 1 inch by 2.5 inch piece. And I needed 5 strips for that. So far of my yardage, I've used, hold on, I can tell you right now. I used 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I used 30 inches of fabric so far. So if you want to just use 1 yard to make this project, you can, if you just want to make the blocks only, but we're actually, the quilt idea also has sashing. So we're not done yet. The white is going to go further. So this is just the block, and I'm going to finish making 20 of these, and I'm going to move all of my colors around. They're all going to be random. All right, let's pick a winner for this giveaway. Ready? Here we go. The winner is Denise Hale. Denise Hale, can you please
click on the thing?
Can you please respond in the chat? Let me know that you are still here. Denise Hale, you are the winner. Please let me know you are still here. Wait till I see her name. Denise Hale. Well,
she says, "Oh my, I never
I'm
win."
glad. Congratulations on winning. Please email me. If you do explanation email, you can get my email address. Actually, I'll just throw that in right now. Shoot me an email so that way. Oops, why didn't it work? Because I wasn't open on this.
Do you want me to type it?
Yep. Somehow I lost my chat. Explanation email. Please email me after this video. So with your, the title that you won. And that way I can send you out your gift. Just write your address and all your information in the email. And I will get this right out to you on Tuesday. Because that's the day we're going to the post office for other stuff. All right, so that's that.
It didn't go. Just tell her it's at the. Oh no, there it is.
Okay.
It's on there now, Denise.
All right, so Denise Hale, congratulations. All right, so she has just won the 4-piece table. What is it called again?
Placemats.
Placemats.
Show them the back.
That I made in a recent video. So that's the back. So she has just won something that I have made. I like to give away things that I have made. So that's awesome. Congratulations.
That's really
I don't
cool.
know what
I like the
happened
back with all
here.
the planets and cosmos.
I've lost my, there it goes. All right. So that was the block, guys. I'm using to make the quilt that I'm making that I have no idea how big it's going to end up. It's, like I said, it's going to be baby. It's going to be a baby size. So just, I'm trying to stick with smaller projects lately because, I've already sewed 160 half square triangles and I still have to trim the other half of them away. So I'll finish that trimming off camera, and make sure everything's prepped. But that's how it works. We cut one more overview, 10-inch square, cut in half, creating 2 10-inch by 5-inch pieces. Take one of those 10 by 5, split it in half, creating a 5-inch and a 5-inch piece. Separate the one 5-inch all by itself, taking the other 5-inch piece and cutting it into 4 2.5-inch squares. Then your second piece that is 5 inches by 10 inches, you are going to subcut into 2 2.5-inch strips. So 2.5-inch strips off of that, turn it around, subcut it to make 8 2.5-inch squares. Then you're going to take and make your half square triangles by sewing from corner to corner, because your background strips, you need 10 of your background strips from your fabric. I'm using 1.5 yards because I'm making borders and sashing. So I allowed myself 1.5 yards for this. So you're going to sew from corner to corner, cut away, make your half square triangle, take 2 half square triangles. I only want 2. And you're going to put them as if you were going to stick them as a flying geese, but it's really not that. You're actually going to cut 5 1-inch strips from your yardage and you're going to subcut those 1-inch strips to 2.5 by 1-inch pieces. You're going to put them in between on the colors side of your print fabrics side, here and here. There's a piece. We're just going to pretend that's the piece. We're going to stick it in between the colored side like this, creating a separated flying geese unit, so it's spaced. That's going to give you something that looks like this. Okay, then you're going to put your block together just like a sawtooth star, except it's going to have the dash in it, so it's dashing. It's a dashing star. So you have
A dashing star.
4 of your 2.5-inch squares and 1 of your 5-inch squares. Those go with your block, and then 4 of your half square triangle with dashing unit put in to create a strange looking sawtooth star. But when the rest of everything gets put together, you guys will totally understand, okay? Just know I've thought about this. So if you guys want to go ahead and make all 20 before next week, I probably won't be pre-making them all. I'll get what I can done, but I will review all of it next Sunday. So I will continue this random half a layer cake project next Sunday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here in Arizona. And I am going to go ahead and get off of here and go spend the rest of the day in the pool, because I think it's time I go in the pool and do some exercises, which I did last night. So I want to do more exercises now. So I want to thank all of you guys for being here. Congratulations to Denise for winning that. Don't forget to email me. Again, that'll get mailed out on Tuesday. And I will see you guys all next week. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, like my videos, and share them with your quilty friends. Bye, everybody.
Good night.